In this video, we're going to define the concept of elasticity more carefully towards building formulas that then we can systematically use to compute elasticities. And after this, we'll do another video. And in that video, we will take elasticities and we will interpret them so that we know how to quantify the impact of different factors on demand and supply. So in this case, I'm going to be sharing with you my econ screen. So I'm going to go into the Canvas dashboards. And within Canvas, I am going to show you guys a file that I will upload in as an announcement. And this file is a notes file. And it's called Chapter 4 Notes on Elasticity Formulas. So you'll be able to download this from your announcements. Okay, so I hope you can see the file. I am being told that you can. And you'll notice that in this file, I first introduce you to the price elasticity of demand. And I go all the way through to an example of how to calculate the price elasticity of demand. And then I go into the price elasticity of supply. Then I look at the income elasticity of demand and the cross price elasticity of demand. The notes do not include a definition in this detail, in this level of detail, for the factor price elasticity of supply. However, you can see from the 4 definitions in the notes, I hope, a pattern as to what it is that elasticity measures. And I think in the simplest form, elasticity measures how the quantity demanded or supplied of a good changes in reaction to a percentage change in a factor that influences demand or supply. Okay. So by looking at our previous list of factors that influence supply and demand in our ink board, we notice that there are several factors that we talked about in Chapter 3 as being important factors affecting how demand and supply reacts to these individual items. Okay. So again, primarily, we are going to be looking at how price affects demand. How price affects quantity demanded. And the way that this is, the answer to this question is called the price elasticity of demand. The way we measure it is we measure a percentage change in the price of a good, and then we look at the reaction to that percentage change in price by looking at a percentage change in the quantity demanded. And the elasticity of demand is simply the percentage change in the quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in the price. Okay. So if we go to our notes, this formula that you see in this box, I'll try to highlight this formula. Just highlight it in yellow so you can see it better. That is how we compute the elasticity of quantity demanded due to a change in price. And we do that by following the ABCs of the calculation. Okay. So I'm going to cover the example in the notes. I'm going to take this example from the notes and going back to our whiteboard and enter this question here as a problem. Suppose that when the price of calculators is 18, the quantity demanded is 90. Okay. So in this context, I'm going to assign the value of the old price to be 18. And in that situation, the quantity demanded is 90 million units or 90 units. And when the price changes, when we have a new price and the new price is $22, so the price goes up, and no surprise that the quantity demanded goes down from 90, it goes down to 70. So the key to identifying the price elasticity of demand is, number one, measure the percentage change in price. And number two, measure the percentage change in quantity. The way we're going to set this up is by using something called the midpoint formula for measuring percentage change. So the first thing we have to do in order to achieve this is we have to find the midpoint of the price change and the midpoint of the demand change. So you can see that the midpoint for the price change is 20. So I'm going to call that PM for price midpoint. It's 20 because that's between 18 and 22. And the midpoint for the quantity demanded is 80 because that's the midpoint between 70 and 90. The math to do this would be to take the old and the new numbers, add them together and divide them by 2. So to find the midpoint between two values, what you do is you add the two numbers and then divide by 2. Which is exactly how we got the 20 and the 80. And then to measure the percent changes would be the next step. For the price and the quantity demanded. And so the way to do that in the case of the price, to get the percentage change in price, what we do is we take the new price minus the old price, and we divide it by the midpoint. And we do exactly the same thing for the quantity demanded. We take the new minus the old, and we divide it by the midpoint. Okay, the results to these calculations. Okay, so let me put the formula here. So it's new minus old divided by midpoint. That's how you calculate a percent change. So in this context, the first number is 4 out of 20, which is 1 out of 5, or 20%. And the second number is 20 out of 80, which is 1/4, which is 25%. And then the elasticity of demand is the ratio of the percentage change in price in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in the own price of the good. And so ultimately, to get the elasticity of demand, we divide the 25% change in quantity by the 20% change in price. Now, it is noteworthy that I have ignored directions of change. Okay, that's because in most cases, we know this is an inverse relationship, so we sort of ignore the fact that the expression that I'm about to highlight here results in actually a negative change. So this 25% is in effect a negative change. And so this elasticity value is minus 1.25. And so that's the elasticity of demand for this good, meaning that for every 1% change in price, there is a 1.25% change in quantity in the usually opposite direction to the price change. So that's the interpretation of this minus 1.25. So again, recalling that this is a negative change. This 70 minus 90 is negative 20. Recording that this change here, this 25% here, is a minus 25%. Okay. And I'm missing a little decimal point here. There. Do the math correctly. And we now have found the price elasticity of demand through this example. I hope this video was useful. Just like we find the price elasticity of demand for quantity demanded, we can find the factor price elasticity of supply by just changing what goes in the denominator and what goes in the numerator, what goes in the bottom and the top of the fractions that make up these elasticity measures or metrics. And we'll be talking a little bit more about this, and your homework in this particular chapter 4 will be, as well as your quiz, as well as your discussion points, will will be about these kinds of computations. I hope this video is productive and useful in helping you achieve success in completing the homework and the quiz for Chapter 4. Because I want you to practice a lot, the points for discussion in this chapter, as well as in Chapter 3, are going to be embedded in these two activities, in the homework and the quiz. And I hope that you are connecting with peers through the chat function in the Canvas, and that you stop by and visit in my Zoom sessions from 4 to 6 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday primarily, so that you can ask me questions about your assigned work. Thanks for watching this video.